Welcome, I'm Tried It Gal, and this is the Booktube Newbie Tag video. I've been pretty nervous to do this one. I didn't think I was ready. You'll see why. Question 1. Why did you start this channel? Well, I started it, to be really honest, because no one ever seems to say this. I was hoping to earn a little extra money. And I thought, well, it'd be great to earn a little extra money doing something that I really enjoy, like reading books and talking about books. And number 2, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I think the fact that my book taste is really wide is something that's a little more unusual on Booktube. I'm not going to say it's unique. What else? Also, I'm thinking about adding a little extra flavor to it by even in reviewing cookbooks and cooking recipes from the cookbooks and saying how that went. And when I read the self-help book, actually trying to follow the self-help book and saying how that went. If I read a book on a hobby, actually trying the hobby, all that. So I think that that's another thing I can bring to you too. 3, what am I most excited for about this new channel? What I'm most excited for about it is that I feel like I'm not getting enough out of my books lately. Like, I love having books. I've owned books since I was a kid, and I still own the books I owned when I was a kid. And but lately it seems like some of the books just sit on the shelf, and that I had an idea that I wanted to do something, like I wanted to, say, grow fruit and vegetables from produce I get from the grocery store. And I have a book just on that, but I haven't actually done it. So I think that's true in a lot of other cases too, like, embroidery. Yes, I've done a little bit of embroidery, but I haven't actually done the embroidery from the book that I bought. So I think a lot of people do that, and so people might find that inspiring, and I'd love to hear about anyone's projects that they do when they're reading some of the books that have been sitting on their shelves or in their ebook reader, and they're finally getting to experience it. I think even if you or I don't end up enjoying the hobby that we bought the book for, that's something learned right there. And the other thing is, I think I need to do a little downsizing here. So going through books and actually knowing, rather than guessing like, oh, I'm not going to read this book, or I think I will read this book, actually reading them and just making a decision about whether or not to keep them. So, question number 4, why do you love reading? Oh, why do I love reading? Let me count the ways. Oh, I'm not going to badly try to quote poetry, am I? No, I'll leave that one alone for now. The reason why I love reading, or reasons why I love reading, it was just, when I was a kid, I loved how it took me into another world, and it was really fun. I mean, the books have more details than TV did about the characters and the plots, and I really liked that. And what else? As I got older, I realized I really like nonfiction too. Learning about real places and real people and what actually happened is really interesting. And learning about things that could happen is also really interesting. In nonfiction and fiction, I love the deep dive. I love the deep dive that you can do and really learn about something. And a lot of times things are more interesting the more you know about them. Or a lot of times things are more interesting once I know more about them. Sometimes, especially with nonfiction and some fiction, there's a learning curve and it can be a bit unpleasant at first. But I find that the more I learn, the more fun it is. 5. What book or series got you into reading? Oh, so, as a little kid, I read books like the Amelia Bedelia and Ramona the Pest and Little House on the Prairie. And I really enjoyed all the books I read, the picture books, everything. And my mom taught me how to read, and I just loved reading. And then when I was about 8, maybe almost 9, my dad was reading the Hobbit to me by J.R. Tolkien every night at bedtime, and I just loved that. It was a nice together time for us, and the book was great. And my parents separated after that, but I just developed this great love for reading Tolkien. And when I was about 9, 10, I read all the Lord of the Rings. And just those are my favorite books for a very long time. And it got a little displaced when I was 14 and I read Dune. But I love both those series. So let's see, sorry. Question number 6. Let's see. Question number 6. What would you ask your favorite booktubers? Okay, so currently, my favorite booktubers are gabbyreads and abookolive, and I guess I would just ask them. I guess I would ask them about their editing, and how they get their editing done, and I might ask them about their lighting setup. And also how to get, multiple camera angles. Especially, Gabby does vlogs where she's walking around doing things. How do you get all the angles? If it's just you filming, maybe she has other people filming. Okay, let's see. Okay, question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think the hardest for me is feeling like I should make better quality videos or not put them out at all. I have a lot to learn about making them, and I think that even though they're far from perfect right now, I can learn something just by making them and publishing them. And yeah, it's hard not to think that I should wait and learn everything I can about it before filming and editing and publishing. I guess the other thing that's really hard is not wanting to misrepresent books, and wanting to do a good job of reviewing them. I don't like the idea of saying a book was bad, because I think of all the time that someone went into writing them. Even if I don't like a book, I want to at least do it justice in how I describe it. Let's see. Question number 8. When did you start reading? Well, I guess I already answered that one. I started reading when my mom taught me how to read. I was little. Yeah. Question number 9. Where do you read? So I generally read anywhere I can, so that I can get more reading done. I'm going to have to do that even more, I think, for a booktube channel. So I read sitting on the couch, and I read audiobooks while cooking, while cleaning, while exercising, all those kinds of things. Oh, and I listen to audiobooks sometimes when I'm falling asleep. If I'm having trouble falling asleep. That might sound like a bad idea, but usually that if I close my eyes and listen to an audiobook, it makes me sleepy. So if I have my eyes open and I'm doing things, I'm fine. I do love audiobooks. Oh, a tip for if you're listening to an audiobook to help you fall asleep is that don't pick a book that has lots of different vocal changes. You know, like it's quiet and then someone goes, "Oh, the horses came clumping in," you know. Did I just spit? I'm sorry. My newbie tag? Oh dear. Also, like if you have Audible, you can set a sleep timer so that the book stops playing. And that way you're less likely to be woken up in the middle of the night by those same said horses galloping. Okay. Question number 10. What kind of books do you like to read? And now this is the question. This is the question that made me feel most nervous and most overwhelmed when it came to doing this tag, because I don't want to bore you with a long list. So, and I'm going to forget some too. So I had to open up a page on the internet with book genres. Yes, I read action and adventure. Yes, I read classics. I do read comic books and graphic novels. I do read detective and mystery. I do read fantasy. I do read historical fiction. I do read horror. I do read literary fiction. I admit I don't read romance as much, like straight out romance. I'm more likely to read a story that has a romance subplot, but I do sometimes read romance. I do read science fiction. I do read short stories. I do read suspense and thrillers. I do read women's fiction. I do read biographies and autobiographies and memoirs. I do read cookbooks. I do read essays. I do read history. I do read poetry. I do read self-help. I do read true crime, though I'm trying not to read much true crime because I don't think that needs to be floating around in my head. So, but sometimes I do. Okay, what else? I read history I'm reading a new list now because this is all nonfiction. Let me try not to say things twice. I read science. I read business and economics. I read crafts and hobbies. I read travel guides. Okay, so art books, yes, I read those. I read humor, absolutely. Language books, yes. I read cultural anthropology. Okay, I better just stop. That's enough, right? That's enough. Basically, if it's a book genre, I would most likely read it.